and we're gonna do it now. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of this YouTube channel called the Movie Trivia Schmodown. I think I've showed you them before. And it's this contest that combines the nerdiness of movie trivia with the theatrics of, wrestling entertainment. And in order to get excited about the Batman, they decided to do an exhibition match with just Batman trivia questions. And I was listening to that, and I thought, you know who could do kind of well in this? So I prepared 25 questions about the Cape Crusader.
Deal. Let's go.
I want to see how you do in them. So this is the closest I'm going to get to hosting the Movie Trivia Schmodown. So are you ready?
I'm down.
All right. Number one, Bruce Wayne's parents died outside of what theater?
Gotham Theater? I've never...
The Monarch Theater. 2, who played Two-Face in Batman Forever?
Oh, God, Tommy Lee Jones, unfortunately.
Yes. What is Alfred the Butler's last name?
Pennyworth.
Correct. In Batman the Animated Series, what was the name of the man who killed Batman?
Oh, Sid the Squid.
Correct. His full name was Sidney Dupree, but Sid the Squid, yeah. In what Batman film will you see Batman using the Bat credit card?
God, what's the piece of shit one? Is it Batman Forever? No, it's Batman and Robin.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah. Kilmore is in the first one. George Clooney is in the second one. Yeah.
In The Dark Knight Rises, what was the name of the fake name used by Talia al Ghul during the movie?
Oh my God, no. Give me a second here. Oh God, we all just call her Talia. Fuck, I don't know.
Miranda Tate.
Oh, that's right. I remember thinking, why Tate? Tate sounds so dirty.
It's Tate, not Taint.
It's very close.
Who is the only actor to have played Batman both in live action and voiced him in an animated project?
Oh, Kevin Conroy.
Adam West.
What? No, Kevin Conroy played him in the Arrowverse.
You know what? I'll give you that one. That's
fine. Yeah. Even the questions are wrong. I'm right.
Completely forgot about that one. 8. Who played Commissioner Gordon in Dark Knight trilogy?
Fucking Sirius Black.
He has a name.
No, he doesn't. His name's Sirius Black.
It's Gary Oldman. Okay,
that
next.
One. Okay.
What is the Bat Hound's name?
Oh, Ace.
Absolutely. You would know that. Okay, in Batman the Animated Series, what was the name of the episode where the villains get together to play poker and tell Batman stories?
Almost Got Him.
That's correct. That's my favorite episode.
Mine too, actually. In
the Lego Batman movie, Batman's life lesson number 2 is vigilantes don't have
friends?
Bedtimes.
Fair.
Who directed... What?
I've never seen the Lego Batman movie, actually.
Oh my God, it's so good. Who directed Batman 1989?
God, Tim Burton.
Yes. What is the name of the Penguins nightclub?
The Iceberg Lounge and/or 44 Below.
That is correct. In The Dark Knight, how many total criminals are seen assaulting the bank wearing painted clown masks?
Are we including the one on the roof?
Yes.
The ones on the roofs?
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Are we counting the one with the bus driver?
Yes.
I'm gonna say 8.
It's actually 6.
Wasn't there 3 on top? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. What superhero team did Batman found with Metamorpho and Black Lightning?
The Justice League of America?
The Outsiders.
Was that with Lobo? But that was with Lobo, Black Canary, Vixen, and the Ray.
I got these questions from Wikipedia. I'm assuming that they're right.
Wikipedia can be wrong. I know because I like that comic book. He chose Black Canary to lead the team.
In Batman Begins, what type of martial art employs theatrics and explosive powders that Bruce learns at the start of the film?
Theatricality?
What is the name of the martial art?
Oh, Keisai, I believe that's what it's called.
It's called ninjutsu.
Ninjutsu? Oh.
What is the Joker's real name in Batman 1989?
I don't know.
Jack Napier.
Jack Napier, son of a bitch. Okay.
Played by Jack Nicholson.
I was actually gonna say fucking Joe Chill, but I'm like, no, that's the one that shot him.
What Batman villain carves a tally mark somewhere on himself for each one of his victims?
Oh, Victor Zsasz.
Correct. In Batman Returns, at the end of the film, how many of Catwoman's 9 lives are left according to her?
3?
1.
Ah.
I knew Harvey Dent is the first line of what Batman movie?
The Dark Knight Rises.
That's correct. Who is Mogo?
The Living Planet?
The Bat Ape.
What?
There's a storyline where Batman and Robin sneak into the Gotham Zoo, and an ape follows them back into the Batcave, and the Batcave finds one of Batman's capes, puts it on, and helps them solve a crime.
Wait, his name is Mogo?
His name is Mogo the Bat Ape.
What?
Yes. You learn something new every day, don't you?
Wait, I also want to do this. Look, Mogo the Living Planet. It's a Green Lantern thing too.
Yeah, but we're in Batman territory, not Green Lantern.
God damn it. I'm sorry. My comic book knowledge is so vast.
In Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul says, "Gentlemen, time to spread the word." And the word is?
God, say that one more time.
In Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul says, "Gentlemen, time to spread the word." And the word is?
Death?
Panic.
Oh.
What is Harley Quinn's degree in?
Oh, psychology.
But it's a?
Criminal psychology?
It's a PhD.
PhD.
I got you though. Yeah, I'll give you that one. In one of the many flashback scenes in The Mask of the Phantasm, we see the first time that young Bruce Wayne met Andrea Beaumont. Where did they meet?
The cemetery.
That's correct. And last question, who created Batman?
Bob Kane and Bill Finger?
That's correct. All right. You got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I know we're ready to be going off faster, motherfucker.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You got 15 out of 25. That's pretty good.
I'm calling bullshit on some of those. I'm calling bullshit. Mogo the Living Planet, man. I'm calling bullshit on some of that.
All right.
Also,
bonus question.
Oh, shoot.
Are you ready?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for welcoming us onto your screens, onto your headphones, through whatever app, however means. My name is Eddie.
And I'm Chema, reviewing
the Batman.
And this
is the
rollback. So, the Batman unmasked the truth. In his second year of fighting crime, Batman uncovers corruption in Gotham City that connects to his own family while facing the serial killer known as the Riddler. So, Eddie, we have The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, of course, being well known for doing the new Planet of the Apes trilogy, Cloverfield, the Let Me In remake, and we have Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Jeffrey Wright, Andy Serkis, Colin Farrell. We have this big cast. We have this big budget. We have possibly one of the new and darkest incarnations of Batman ever seen on the big screen. One of the most anticipated movies, I think, for a long time. What do we think of The Batman?
Can you hear me properly? I just want to make sure I got a warning on my mic. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Perfect. So I remember there was a time when I said, I don't envy whoever has to follow up Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Like, I don't envy who has to do that. Like, I don't know how you're going to follow that. There was a time where I thought, I don't know who the hell is going to be able to follow up Christian Bale's Batman. But Ben Affleck technically hasn't had to yet. He hasn't had any solo films. And I thought, I don't envy whoever has to follow the Joker. And now I watched this film and I'm like, I don't envy who the fuck has to follow this thing. This beast, this mammoth, this behemoth, this. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna bust out all my compliments real quick. This, I would say, might be. I was watching this film, and I just remember thinking at some point, 2 hours in, I like broke myself out of the film for just a moment, like while Batman and Catwoman are talking, and it's like, he's my father, or whatever. Like they're having that conversation. And I just remember thinking, this is his magnum opus. Like this, I'm watching someone's masterpiece right now. I'm watching a genuine piece of cinema history at this moment. Like I'm gonna remember where I was, what I was doing when I saw this film, and I'm gonna be able to be like this is like when someone went to go watch The Godfather for the first time in theaters back in the 70s, and they're like, "Oh, this movie might be good on Christmas Day," and they go watch it, and they're just like, "This is amazing." I feel like that. And it's so rare I get to have that experience where I watch something and I know I'm watching history. This is one of those moments for me.
All right. Well, this is not a surprise, but I'm going to echo everything you said. This was wonderful. This was an exercise in world building. This was an exercise in character. This was an exercise in capturing all these feelings to create a new story that, of course, it's inspired by some of the greatest Batman mythos. You can see shades of Year One. You can see shades of The Long Halloween. You can see shades of like a lot of famous Batman storylines. And it's so rare that you see a project where all the pieces flow well, like all the pieces work perfectly. This is probably, I don't like to say this is the darkest that we've ever seen a character, because I feel like that's so played out. But it is a mood and an atmosphere that it is so appropriate to this character, so appropriate to this time period, and so appropriate to just the world that they're living. I would go as far as to say that Gotham feels like a character in itself. This is the dirtiest, grossest, and darkest that we've seen Gotham City. Almost to the point where you're wondering, like, why is this guy doing everything that he can to save this city that honestly should be burned to the ground? Like, it's so horrible. But you believe in this guy. You believe that he wants to do the right thing and that he is doing the right thing, at least in his own head. And it all works because the cast is good. It works because the direction is excellent. The pacing is great for being an almost 3-hour movie, like 2 hour 45 minutes plus credits. Like it doesn't feel like 3 hours. Like it didn't went by like that, but I did enjoy every second that it took. The score might be one of my favorite Batman scores ever. Like not like right under the animated series. I think it might be one of my favorite scores. I think it's that one. I think it's the animated series. This one, Burton's, and then like all the others, because Jesus Christ, it's so good. One of my favorite Batmobiles, probably my favorite Batmobile ever. Man, like I can tell you like a lot of things that I like, but I know that it will be better if you talk and then I just follow up on that. So I think to surprise to no one, we both agree this is a beast of a movie.
It's I'm a little sad now though.
Why?
Because it's over. I can't experience it for the first time again. And no matter how many times I rewatch this, I'm never gonna have those butterflies in my stomach the first time. Like, no, like, okay, Nikki, God bless her. She even said, like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? You're like, you're smiling. I know, I'm enjoying it. He just beat that guy to death with a hammer.
Like, why are you smiling at this?
Because, okay, look, and go back to our Nightmare Alley review. I love detective movies. They're so rare, but I love them when I get them. And spoiler alert here: Death on the Nile was not the murder mystery I was hoping for.
Okay.
Nightmare Alley was not the murder mystery I was hoping for. What's that other one? Last Night in Soho was not the murder mystery I thought I was expecting. This movie, fuck. Like I remember the first time I watched Seven, and it was like this movie was very much in that realm. It was great. I want to start from the beginning and work our way through it, but
Sure.
fuck Matt Reeves. Like, give this man write this man a blank check and say, what do you want to do next? So let's start with the opening scene. The Riddler's fucking horrifying. Like, you see someone look into a microscope and then breathing. I thought initially it was Batman.
Yeah.
Like I thought he was like doing some surveillance or something. And then the mayor, he's watching TV and he walks and you see the Riddler right behind him. And he just, if you don't notice, I don't know if you did, his eyes don't fucking blink at all. Whenever the Riddler's in that mode with the mask, he doesn't fucking blink. And he's just like, folks, I know you can't see. Like, you can't see me, but my eyes are just bulging and I'm just like looking to the side. And it's just oh my God. So right from the get-go, and also funny story, right after he starts beating him with the hammer carpet thingy, whatever. I saw about 8 people walk out of the theater, like with kids, with young children, in an IMAX theater where those tickets are fucking expensive.
They are.
They were like, no. And I see one lady with like a kid in her arm and a little girl in her hand, and then I see another family like walking out like, no, not this, no. Because they assume it's a Batman movie. It's like, yeah, it is, but motherfucker, this ain't your dad's Batman movie. Oh, God. And right from the get-go, they hit everything going. And you get a sense of the occasion, the effect Batman is having. He said in the trailer, that's not just a signal, it's a warning. And while criminals are committing crimes and they see that, they're like, oh my God, they think he's in the shadows. They think he's everywhere. Fear is his best tool. And finally, when he does appear, with these thugs, they try to step up, and boy, does he slap them the fuck down. Oh God. And when the first time when he steps, you hear the weight in his boots, and it's like this menacing. Typically something like that, like those heavy steps, like that hulking presence, is saved for like a bad guy that you have to overcome.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
He is the bad guy they have to overcome.
Yes.
The best part. Yes.
Yes. And
like in their eyes, they feel that. Yeah.
And also the score is so reminiscent, and I don't like this, but I don't like the character Darth Vader. I don't. But the score is...
My family said the same thing. Like, it sounds like the Imperial March. Yeah.
It does. And Nikki said the same thing right when we were playing. Like, did they rip off Darth Vader? I'm like, Darth Vader ripped off Batman.
Sure, like 40 years, but sure.
Fuck them. But no, like, because it is that score, when you hear it, should put the fear of God in you. And for those criminals, when they see him, they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, and we hit the ground running from there. I'm sorry, I'm taking over your thoughts.
No. I want to hear yours. But okay, here's the thing about my thoughts on the opening. First of all, I love that there's no flashback to Batman's parents getting killed. I'm so sick of seeing the pearls. I'm so sick of seeing baby Bruce just crying in the alley. I like that they skip that because they know that we know it. Okay.
Yeah.
I adore that he has a voiceover narration because it feels like a neo-noir, like all detectives are. Yes, I love that he has that narration. Like it starts like it's like Gotham, like it sucks, but it's home, like all that shit. Like it's so pulpy and so like you can tell because Batman is such a diva. Like he is like he would do that, and it's important. And this is the closest that we've seen to seeing something like the Batman from the Arkham Asylum game, like take place. Like he looks like he reminds me of that Batman. Down to the voice, like he's no like Robert Pattinson is no Kevin Conroy, but there are parts where like you can kind of see that voice kind of coming out.
Yeah.
I love his opening narration. I love how the weight that he feels. And you know what? I love that we finally have a Batman that sits down and looks at clues in a big stack of dusty old files. Like that is so detective, so noir, so so wonderfully rich. I can't believe it took them that long to like just have like a Batman that like walks into the crime scene and like looks around and like starts putting things together and like very quietly moves. There's a lot of shots in this movie that are slow on purpose. Like every time the Batman sees like one of those envelopes that says to the Batman, and he like opens the cage, like puts his hand in and like reaches out. Like you can cut those, but the fact that they stay there really make you like dwell into the atmosphere and how everything feels. So I love that. I love this is one of the strongest opening scenes in I think any superhero movie ever, because it's great. You mentioned the Riddler. The Riddler is fan-fucking-tastic. I love Paul Dano. He's really one of the strongest actors that we have, and he knocks it out of the park. Do you want to hear something funny that happened when I was watching this movie? I was watching it, and we see the Riddler with the mask the entire time, and it's not until the end where we finally see him without a mask. And you know, he has this like kind of a baby face, like he's Paul Dano has that kind of face, and he has these clear glasses. And I went to see it with my sister and with my parents. Mm-hmm. And my dad turns to me, and you know what he said?
What?
He said, "He looks like your friend Eddie."
Motherfucker.
No joke. He was like, "He looks like your friend Eddie."
Remind me of that the next time I see your father. We're gonna have a conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. No, but like no joke.
So,
like he
so
said
Mr. The Chema, you say I look like this serial killer. Interesting.
Yeah. So we have Paul Dano's Riddler. He's great. I gotta talk about Jeffrey Wright. That's Jim Gordon. Get back, Luna. Okay.
I'm sorry. That was a funny kick in the balls. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to get that laugh out. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's pull back. Right. Let's talk about maybe the best Jim Gordon ever.
Possibly the greatest Jim Gordon. I mean, I love Gary Oldman. You know, I've loved like a lot of. I love the J.K. Simmons, but Jesus Christ, Jeffrey Wright is such a presence. He's so strong. He's so like. I like that him and Batman like are this like duo. Like he is like as important and as heavy to the police department and to like everyone else as Batman is. And random, I like that he refers to Batman as man, like they're just buddies, you know, just solving cases. Like I can imagine them going to like Chili's and like calling ahead of time, like making reservations, like, yeah, Bad Boys for 8 at 2 for table for 2. I like the relationship that they have. Yeah.
It's funny because he has like the most dorky is not the right word for it, but he has the most like dad Jim Gordon ever.
I agree.
Like if that makes sense. Like he's a badass. Like you want him on your side, but also like I don't know. He has that weird presence about him. You know what I mean? What's called? It's
the mustache.
Not only that's the way he carries himself. He's not cool, but he's a good dude.
Did you see the tweet that he put out?
Oh, the one like this is the most Jim Gordon picture I've ever taken. Like,
yes.
Like look, that is who James Gordon is. That is. And I love that. So okay. So I mean, okay. So real quick, I want to touch on this just so I can like shit talk for a moment here. People were mad that Jeffrey Wright was cast as James Gordon because he's African American. Go fuck yourselves. He's an incredible actor. Like he's an incredible talent. Shut the fuck up. Like, did you not love this film? Did you not enjoy his relationship? No, then fuck off.
You can be like, the thing about Jim Gordon is that his race is not particularly important about him.
His mustache is what's important.
His mustache is important. I do agree. It's like it's like when we did the Uncharted review, and I was like, Sully's mustache is important for a reason. It really isn't, but like, I just wanted to make a point. In this one, I think it does help because like you see him, and if you had no idea who Jim Gordon was and you looked at him, you would be like, yeah, that's a Jim Gordon. Like that's him. Yeah.
You know, we should have an entire podcast episode dedicated to debating who is the best Jim Gordon, who has the best mustache. Is it Gary Oldman's? Is it J.K. Simmons?
We don't need to because this guy wins. Does he really does.
Does he though? J.K. Simmons' mustache though. That big white one.
I am prepared to be like to be like, some of the elements in this movie are some of my favorite Batman elements of all time. I am ready to say, so far, Jim Gordon, the Batmobile, I am ready to say, like, those might be my favorite, like, of those that have ever existed. Yeah.
You know what I love? We'll get to the Batmobile in a minute. And I'll remember this. Okay.
I have thoughts on that.
Oh, I have some thoughts on that. Okay, so this movie is the first huge attempt. In the comics, there are plenty of stories. But on big screen media, and I'm including movies in this, I'm including the TV show, we so rarely get to see Batman being the world's greatest detective. It's not very common that we get to see it.
Yeah. We saw it in like games like Arkham Asylum. Like that one like really leaned into that.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first movie that like really leans into that.
But the thing is, I love how so we used to say that that Christopher Nolan's Batman is the most grounded Batman ever. No, this is. I think this is the most grounded Batman we've ever seen, to a point where after his night out, he's writing in a journal so he can remember everything. I love that, because it's like, no, he's not an instantaneous genius. He has to go and work through shit. Like, he has to remember stuff. Yeah. His contacts, he records everything and he goes back and plays it back. Yeah. He doesn't have a perfect memory. He's just like, no, I just have a means of recording shit and reviewing it.
Yeah.
And the clues and like printing, like, if he comes back with the cipher, Gordon's gonna be like, how the fuck did you figure it out? You saw it once. He's not gonna tell Gordon, well, I actually have cameras in these. Like, I record everything. Like, that's I'm not as impressive as you think I am. It built up his mythos, though.
Yeah. It makes him feel like larger than life.
Yeah.
Because if you saw this just from the perspective of like Gordon or someone else, like, it does break that like, mystique that he has. Yeah.
Definitely.
And random, really small thing, but I love that this is the first time that we see a Batman in live action that takes off his mask and the eyeliner doesn't magically disappear. Mm-hmm. Like, I like that he still has like he's there with like the big ass coat and just like looking at the video and like writing it down, and he still has like all that would happen. Like that's also realistic. There's a scene in Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, where we see Ben Affleck kind of like get into the Batcave, walk in, takes off his cowl, and like sit down in a chair and just like sit here. And I went, there it is. Like, that's so Batman. Like that feels like that's the most accurate that I've seen, like, Affleck as Batman, just in that scene. This, you totally believe that Pattinson right there is like the young Bruce Wayne. I think it's 2 years that he's been Batman. Yeah, so he's the year 2, and like him just like sitting there with like the cow, with like the thing, and like just like writing down everything, and with the makeup, like all that feels so in character, so well. There is one weak element in this movie, and I want to talk about it. Yes, I fucking love
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis. He's only there for like 3 scenes, and he doesn't leave as big of an impact as like Michael Caine or hell, even what was his name in for Affleck? Forgot his name. Anyway,
Irons.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons. So Jeremy Irons, unironically, I think is one of the best Alfreds. Like, he's so stern. He has like that like asshole-ish kind of like vibe to him. He has like the sarcastic vibe to it. I like Andy Serkis. I think if he had gotten more scenes, he would have been better. I do like the scene at the hospital. We'll talk about it about that when we get to that. But I think he should have he fits to this world, but not my favorite Alfred, like by a long shot.
I think give him time. I think they're being smart about it. They're not. We've seen Alfreds. We've seen plenty of them already. We've seen 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 live action Alfreds. They're going to take their time. They're like, you know what? We can build the relationship over time. And you're not the first person to tell me that Alfred wasn't your favorite part of the film. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I think Matt Reeves is approaching this with, look, man, we got a trilogy up ahead. Yeah. Like, we can build that relationship later on. Right now, I have this intrinsic, multi-layered story to tell. If Alfred has to take a back seat, his ass is gonna take a back seat. He's gonna like it. He's gonna say thank you.
Which is fine. Like, the movie's not about Alfred, but like the movie's 3 hours long, almost 3 hours long. Like, you could have squeezed in a couple more scenes like with them, and I feel like it could have worked, because I unironically fucking love Alfred. Like, I think he's one of the best characters like there, because he's so there's a comic book storyline where he is the Joker. Like, have you read this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And apparently he like releases these mental patients from this mental asylum to constantly be fighting Bruce. Yeah.
It's not the best, but like I like how Alfred is like multi-layered and stuff. Like I feel like, here's an idea. I kind of want to go to a convention dressed as Alfred and like bump into any Batman that I see and be like, oh, Master Wayne. Like,
Master Wayne, how are you today?
Yeah, like Master, like, what do you do all those push-ups if you can't pull a bloody log? Like,
God,
it's fucking good. Yeah.
No,
so I just wanted to say, like, right off the bat, I think that's like the weakest element of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's it. Like, and if that's your weakest element, you're good, you know?
Well, not only that, man, like Gotham, not since Joker, and I think Joker's the only other like DC film in general. And I'm including the DCEU. I'm including the Dark Knight trilogy. I'm including every DC movie when I say the statement. Mm-hmm. Joker and now the Batman are the only two films to make me feel like a city is a character.
Yeah.
In a superhero film. You know?
Yeah.
Because Joker, the city was this ugly, gritty place, this ugly, like, beat you down to your knees and you're going to say thank you when I'm done. Like, this horrible, horrible place. And this film does the same fucking thing. But the thing is, they don't pull the thing that the Dark Knight does, which is like the city, it ends on a high note of like, you know, we're going to come back from this. We have hope. This film goes in the other direction. We'll talk about that when we get there. But I want to start talking about the detective elements of this. This Riddler has elements of like from Seven. He's demented. I'm pretty sure he has a mental disability. He seems very like not all there, like genuinely not all there, like actually psychotic. Not like he's nuts. No. This dude is genuinely not there mentally. Yeah. That he has forms of like Jigsaw. He creates these things. He doesn't think in words. He thinks in terms of puzzles.
Yeah.
Which is right up the fucking Riddler's alley. Like all these different elements combined to make this serial killer, this new take on the Riddler, which frankly I fucking love. If they remade Bane into from a meathead into a domestic terrorist, they made the Riddler from just some smart dude that likes riddles into this multifaceted, like BTK-esque serial saw killer. And to this film's betterment, I've been quoted before in stating that sometimes Batman is only as good as his dance partner, and fuck, they cha-cha the shit out of this movie.
They should put that on the poster. Because
tell me, okay, controversial, but let me ask you this right now, right off the bat.
Okay.
Is this, and this can be a topic for another time. We can debate this. We can have a full episode debate.
Yeah.
Is this Riddler better than Heath Ledger's Joker?
I'm gonna say give it time to marinate, but I think he's in the competition. I think what differentiates them the most is that while the Riddler is the main villain in this, he's not the only one. Like the Penguin is there, Catwoman is there. How the city of Gotham is technically like its own villain.
Yeah.
Give it time, because here's the key difference, and this is something that I want to leave very clear when we talk overall about this movie, because I don't want to compare it to The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight, when it happened, they had us quoting the lines. They had us people, everyone I knew and their mothers dressed as the Joker that Halloween. You probably did. And
yes. We took pictures. We took pictures with everybody. I was Joker. Daniel was Batman. He's taller than me, so it looked legit. So we're taking pictures. There's pictures of us with like kids, like 5 and 8 years old, like Batman and Joker, and I'm just there with a knife, like.
I don't think the Batman, like this movie, I don't think it has a why so serious moment. I don't think it has a do you want to know how I got these scars moment? Like, it doesn't. But that's because I think overall they're directed to very different audiences. And we're gonna see if this movie has legs and it carries on, and if it lives in the overall cultural, stigma of like, moviegoers everywhere, because The Dark Knight was for everyone. I don't think this movie is for everyone. I think it's for us, but I don't know if it's for everyone. Because
accessibility matters.
Yeah, because I'll let you know this. I saw it with like my parents and with my sister. My parents did not care for this. They were like, well, like I've seen better, right? It's not my favorite. Like, and I was like, no, you don't get it. Like this is monumental. Like this is amazing. But that's when I realized they were like, it wasn't for everybody. But then again, they didn't love Joker either.
Yeah.
So, maybe their idea is like different. So that's why, and how I use them as like a litmus test, like how will the general audience react to this? I think it is made for like a specific audience in mind. Mm-hmm. And I think we are that audience. So that's why I don't want to compare it to The Dark Knight yet. I don't want to, because I'm afraid that it might come up short, because not everyone is going to get into it as much as they could get into the other one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if you ask me, do I prefer this one over The Dark Knight? Violently. I prefer this one over Dark Knight.
With extreme prejudice, yes.
With extreme, like no distaste to Nolan, but this is the thing for me. And I've said this before. I think I mentioned it in like a very old episode of the FBA. To me, the perfect adaptation of Batman would be like a Black Mirror show, where like every episode is a different story with a different cast, with a different director, with a different style and a complete direction overall. Because Batman is a legacy character. If you don't like this version, wait a couple of years, there will be another one. Mm-hmm. There will never be a definitive Batman, because there's always going to be a new one. Okay. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like, so when people see this movie and they go, oh, they ruined it, bro, wait a couple of years, there'll be another one.
Yeah.
There's a million animated shows. Do you wanna a more one that takes itself less seriously? Watch Batman Brave and the Bold. You want a kind of a darker with sharper animation? Watch Fear the Batman. You want a classic, what I consider to be the best version? Watch the animated series. You want a grounded, more realistic one? Watch The Dark Knight. You want one that takes the detective aspect more seriously? Play Arkham Knight or watch this movie. There's Batman for everybody. Okay. So that's why I see this, and while I do think this might be the best version that we're gonna ever see, like live action so far, it's coming from me. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted this. I wanted a movie like this. Mm-hmm. So if in like 20 years we have another Batman that is more reminiscent of like the Adam West show, it will exist, and some people will like it. Some people will find it entertaining. It has to exist. It has to just vibe at its. It has to beat at its own pace. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, my Adams react to these movies Adams, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, oh God, you're right. It's so, it may be a cult of the new to say this, but I mean, it's such a strong outing though. Like you, it is. Other people can come out of movies and call bullshit and say, that wasn't really the best movie. And I know I'm the DC guy, but I feel pretty confident in saying that this was a very powerful outing overall. And again, this is more of his detective side of it. Yeah. Going forward, we have a lot of these detective elements going through, where they're solving the riddles. Oh, did you solve any of the riddles before he said them? Because I managed to solve like 3 of them. I was like, wait.
The thumb drive joke is underrated as hell. And same thing with the whole lie still. That was great. Yeah.
What does a liar like do when he's dead? He lies still.
Yeah. Also, shout out to the Penguin for knowing his Spanish. Like, that was so good. It was like el rata alada. It's not el, it's la. Do you even Spanish, bro? Like, that is so good. Because the whole time, because look, I'm surrounded with like all these Mexicans, and we're just like el rata alada. What the fuck is he like? That's so wrong. Like grammatically, it's so wrong. And the fact that he got called out, like no, it's not el, it's la. Like you.
Did the whole crowd go like, oh,
yeah,
absolutely. Really? Yes, good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Well, no, because okay, like admittedly, I'm from I would argue more American side of watching these movies, like where we are. None of us caught it. None of us.
No one.
Well, no one said it out loud. But like the fact that like I'm sure there are people. There have to be people that are watching being like, this motherfucker made a mistake. I'm gonna talk about it online, and then later on, he's a genius. Because fucking Batman and Catch. Also, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Batman makes mistakes in this one, which I love. You see him fucking up and making mistakes. You see him not being perfect. Almost every Batman movie, to some degree, he has his shit together. Maybe he'll get overwhelmed by physical force, but he has his shit together for the most part.
He always has a plan, yeah.
Yeah, and this Batman don't. This Batman don't. He gets back into a corner. He gets help. He gets a lot of help from people. At one point, one of my favorite fucking scenes, it made me straight up laugh my ass off and like grin, was when they're in the when Batman gets knocked out by the explosion once the corrupt DA dies, and he's trying to fight off all the cops. He's like, oh, whatever. And Gordon's like, give me 2 minutes. I'll get him to cooperate. All right. And he punches him. You need to get out of here. And he's like, how do I do that? And he's like, you're going to punch me and take these keys, go up the door, go down the hall, stairs to the left, get up there and get the fuck out. He's like, okay. And then later on, he's like, you couldn't pull your punch. I did pull. But okay. The thing I love about it, though, is the fact that like Batman's up there. He's like, you see him scared. Like, how often do you see Batman in the cape and cowl be like, oh fuck, okay, because you never see that. You never see that human side of him. Also, I'm gonna jump back real quick. The scene where he's fighting those thugs on the train, when he uses a taser in his hand to take the guy down. That shit that you don't think about. Like, no, he just is overwhelmed all with force. He has gadgets to help him beat these guys. You know, he tasers one guy in the fucking throat to take him down because, like, bro, he gets tired. You see the bruises, the welts all over his body and the scars. But anyway, going back to when he's on the top of GCPD and he jumps down in the suit, I was like, oh my God, because he's in the squirrel costume, just going and going, and you think, oh, he's got his shit together, and he sees the thing, you're like, oh, he's gonna go through it. Then the back person comes down, and he hits it, and then he's like, oh God, fuck. And I'm just like, I just started laughing my ass off, and I'm like, that's so real. That's real. And he's looping. He's like, my back.
Yeah, like that is what Batman Year 2 would do.
Okay, look at the Dark Knight. He's like, I'm gonna jump out this one, fly like a goddamn bat, and go perfectly through the one window that I can go through without breaking my fucking neck.
Yeah.
Like perfect fucking timing. Like it's too perfect. It's all perfectly planned out and perfectly timed. Fair enough. Batman is, in theory, he has plot armor. He can do that. But this Batman don't.
Yeah. And you know, jumping up from that, when we get the introduction of the Batmobile, the same thing kind of happens where he like turns it on. We hear Michael Giacchino's score, and glorious scenes. Possibly one of my favorite scenes in the movie is just every scene with the Batmobile. Like we hear it like rumbling, and we see the fear in the Penguin's eyes, and then what does it do? Fucking clocks out. Like it just and it takes him a while to like get him going. Yeah.
You know, props to him though. The Riddler, I'm not the Riddler, the Penguin, he is really good in this one. Like he's not just like a side character. Like, it could have been any gangster. Like, no, he does play a very pivotal role in this film.
Yeah.
He is his own element. He is his own Titan. And when he talks to Batman, he's not scared. Like, I've seen shit. What are you gonna do to me? Like, he's not scared of Batman. Granted, they doesn't want to fist fight him, but like he's very much of the taste of not like I'm bulletproof, but like, kid, you're not gonna scare me. You're gonna scare the shit out of those thugs on the street that don't know any better. Mm-hmm. I'm a seasoned mafia guy. You think you can scare me? Fuck you.
Yeah. What do you think of Colin Farrell and like all his makeup that he's wearing in that movie?
Nikki didn't recognize him at all. I loved him.
Yeah.
I thought he was hilarious. I love when he has to waddle. He's like, hey, untie me. And he's like, waddle. I'm just like, ah.
I think he did great. I think they built him up a lot and he didn't do like that much. But I think every scene where he's in, like, you don't recognize Colin Farrell. And that's a credit to how good of an actor he is. Because he's usually just seen as like a very pretty face and like that's it. But he has range. Ever since I saw him in Saving Mr. Banks, I think he's such a fantastic actor. And I think he does great in this. I heard he's getting like a HBO Max show.
Yeah.
I cannot fucking wait. Like, I think he's going to do great in that.
I mean, after Peacemaker, I'm not going to be surprised.
If they have a great ass opening sequence like that one does, then hopefully.
God, no, I mean, I hope it has its own element to it. But yeah. So we talked about Penguin. Let's talk about a character that's also been receiving an insane amount of praise. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman, which is layered to say the least. The most
Jesus
complicated
Christ.
Catwoman like I've ever seen.
She's too good. Like she like I'm usually not like whenever I make fun of nepotism babies, I just hope she knows that she's not being included in this because she is too good. Like she's been in so many things. Like it's kind of surprising that she's managed to become such a great actress because she started in like Divergent and all this shit, and now she's in like she was great in Big Little Lies, and she's so good in this. Like she. That short-haired Catwoman that we've seen in like comics and we've seen in cartoons, she's so good. She's so great, and she manages to have this thing where like every time that she's in a scene, she always has chemistry with everyone. I think it's a her thing. I think she's a really good actress or she just has like natural chemistry with anyone.
Yeah.
But goddamn, her and Robert Pattinson do such a great combo. Like they're so great. Have you seen their interviews also?
No, actually.
They're really funny because like Robert Pattinson is like this really aloof character that like he's kind of like living in another dimension, and then Zoe Kravitz is so focused. Like there's interviews where they're asking him like, "Oh, what's the thing that really broke you like as a kid?" And Robert Pattinson was like, "Oh, the ending to Final Fantasy VII." And Zoe Kravitz is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Like, that's such an honest answer, though. I respect that.
Yeah. Like he's so great, and then she's so good. Now, her as Catwoman, like you said, layered and focused. Like she manages to take this kind of ridiculous concept of a Catwoman and really make it work. Like really drives it home. One of the best scenes to me is like the conversation where she's gonna kill this cop and Batman stops her, and like, oh god, all those scenes are fantastic. Her calling him out on like when he goes, well, she could have just ran away. Like, oh, that's such a typical rich white boy response. Like you would say some shit like that. Yeah. And she doesn't know him. And yet she manages to understand him better than I think Jim or like any other character would. That's why they vibe so well. That's why they jibe so well.
Yeah.
She's great.
There's several points throughout the film where like her character is pushed to the limits and Batman has to bring her back. The chemistry of jumping back and forth is great. Her speech, like everything. Because bear in mind, she starts this movie concerned about her friend and ends this movie, on her side of it, nearly killing her father.
Yeah.
Like there's so much, and then she goes back and forth. She's a tweener. That's what we call it in wrestling terms. She's not necessarily a good guy or a bad guy. She's complicated. She's a mix. She's an in between.
She's between a heel and a face.
Exactly.
I know my wrestling.
Hey, I respect that. But no, so she's such a great tweener though, like going back and forth and everything. And she's not selfish because traditionally, Catwoman is portrayed as this selfish, self-centered person, but in this one, no, that's my friend, and she was murdered. No, that son of a bitch is my father, and she's complicated, and it makes the character so much better.
Yeah, and shout out to Robert Pattinson who manages to like even say a word in front of her because I would be mesmerized. Like, I mean, like Batman is stronger than I would ever be because at the end when she goes, "You should come with me," I would immediately be like, "Yes, my bags are made. Let's go." Like, shout out to him. He has the strongest will that I will ever have.
No, not only that, man. Like, it's. Do you think she? God damn it, Joe.
These are two reviews in a row where I'm simping over the characters. Like,
God. But no, okay. Do you think that it's possible that she maybe like took everyone out to go get drinks and was like, "We all need to bond. That way, this movie is better. So let's all go get fucking wasted."
She seems like she would be the life of the party. Yes.
Like, but not just that though. Like she formed. I gotta believe for acting this good. Either she's incredible or she formed genuine bonds with people, so it made it easier to act like well with them. It has to be one or the other. But okay, so we talked about Gordon. Oh, I want to talk about Gordon and Batman's relationship real quick. Their relationship, they are on par. They're partners. They're detectives. It's not like Gordon's like, Batman, I need this. And Batman says, well, I need this paperwork. Good. Like, no, this is by far the best relationship I've ever seen between a Batman and a James Gordon, period. Yeah. And they're trying to solve this one really bad case. And this is, again, I want to say this has Seven vibes to it, because they're great partners. They're on two very different levels. You have the veteran detective, the young kid that's kind of barely gotten here, that's only been here for a minute, working together, trying to solve this one really bad and fucked case. Man, it's great. I'm trying to remember what else is there. All right, folks, and we're going to take a quick intermission from me and Chema. Ferny wasn't able to record with us, but he was able to send me his thoughts on the Batman, and trust me, they are plentiful. So enjoy this quick little break from me and Chema, and we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, this is Fernando from the Rollback Podcast, and you know what day it is? Today is actually, today's Sunday. I'm recording this a day after I have seen the new Batman movie. Now, I know my recording has been a little to sparse, to put it lightly, but life comes up, you have less time, and sometimes you just really don't feel like doing it, even the things you like to do. But I felt like recording a podcast for this one. Now, we all know that there's something called Batman fatigue. Now, I did think when this movie came out, I was more on the side of like, man, why are they making another Batman? They're getting rid of fucking Affleck's Batman. I really wanted to see more Dark Knight, things of that sort. But you know how it is. Sometimes things don't happen. Ben Affleck unfortunately had some personal problems that had to be addressed, and he had to bow out. And you know what? It sucks, but I'd rather him be in a good place than nothing at all. So we ended up getting a Matt Reeves directed Batman with Robert Pattinson starring as Bruce Wayne, the Caped Crusader himself. We have Zoe Kravitz coming in as Selina Kyle. We also have Paul Dano as Riddler. You may know him from the movie Prisoners, where he plays the person that is accused of being a pedophile, but he's not a pedophile. And then we have Colin Farrell as the Penguin himself, which I have to say, that's really good makeup. You can't tell. Like, you really cannot tell that is him. That's crazy. Yes, so we have that. We also have Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. You may know Jeffrey Wright from things such as he came out Hunger Games 2 and 3. I know there's something else, but I'm really just blanking on it for now. But yes, we have Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon. And some would say that this is a controversial hiring because, Jeffrey Wright being a person of color and James Gordon always being, white. But I actually thought he did really well in this movie. I really do think like there are some characters that can really blow past those norms of like, oh, well, I always grew up with his character looking this certain way, and I really do think that he went past that and he did a great job. So let's talk about the movie. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this movie because I was like, how many Batmans have we already seen before? And there's only so many Batmans that we could see, and I was like, from the initial videos that we were getting, I was just kind of like, it looks whatever. But in all honesty, after watching it, I was like, or even during watching it, I was like, wow, this is actually a really good Batman movie. We finally get to see Batman as a detective, which we have not gotten to see so far. We got a little bit in Batman vs. Superman, a little bit in the Nolan verse, but for the most part, we don't really get to see Batman be a detective. It's always just, it's Batman. That's pretty much it. But for the most part, we actually get to see him be his Batman self, which I actually liked. So this is kind of not a ripoff. I don't want to say ripoff, but they're kind of taking a spin on the Batman Year One angle that a lot of comic book nerds know, it's basically Batman's first outing as Batman, his first year. But in this one, it's more year 2. In the beginning of the movie, he says, after 2 years, blah, 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 blah. So it's safe to say, oh, okay, he's been doing this for about 2 years. I like Gotham. I like how they set it up. I like how it's used. Let's see what else. The cast. I was really not sure how Robert Pattinson was gonna pan out. I was kind of like, the fucking dude from Twilight. Let's be honest. Everyone was thinking the fucking dude from Twilight as when they heard that he was gonna be casted as Batman and Bruce Wayne. You know what? I not hate to say, I never really thought so, like, he was going to be horrible. But, he was surprisingly really good. And I will give him all the credit in the world. I think he did amazing in this movie. I know some people will say, oh, he wasn't amazing, blah, blah, blah. I know there have been some negative critics, Ben Shapiro most notably. But no, this movie was really well done. I thought this was a solid Batman movie. I really did not hate anything about this movie. I loved Catwoman's chemistry with Batman. I loved the whole underground mob scene being prevalent because, let's be honest, Batman, this is his second year. And Riddler being a psychopath killer trying to get revenge for something that has happened. Him being a conspiracy nut, and then him, obviously going after everyone that you're not supposed to go after, and kind of blowing open what is wrong with Gotham City. And granted, there's always, historically in every comic, there's always something wrong with Gotham City. I liked the suit. The suit is very, how do you call it? The suit is very Year One-esque. The Batmobile in this one, it's a tricked out Mustang, definitely Year One-esque, really well done. What else? Let's see. The Bat cycle, it's just really your run of the motorcycle with kind of bat ears on it. Really well done. I loved everything about it. Batman's fighting style is really raw. It's really just, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you to beat the shit out of you. And some people might have a problem with it, but they don't understand where this character is coming from. This is not your new Batman. Really, the only thing that we've seen Batman in, even remotely close to Year One, is Nolan's Batman and Batman Begins. But this is pretty much your introduction to comic book version Batman Begins. And from what I saw in the movie, I really thoroughly enjoyed. I thought this movie did really well at showing this character. I thought this character shows a lot of room for improvement. I think he will be a great asset going forward. I mean, obviously there is a plan to go forward. We see at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, character hinting at a new Joker. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. This is already going to be, our third Joker in a span of, since 2016, so 6 years. I get it. It is kind of annoying. But you know what? We have to roll with the punches. It's the kid from Eternals. You've seen him on a ton of stuff. I don't know. I don't know how he's going to do. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and say, he's going to be the best thing ever since sliced bread. But I think he will do good. I haven't seen him do bad in a lot of things. So I think he will be a good Joker. Only time will tell, and only the future can tell. But we will see. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I love Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I thought she was the greatest Catwoman that we have ever seen. In all honesty. Michelle Pfeiffer, she does the whole campy Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, which is great for her. Halle Berry, we don't talk about Halle Berry because that Catwoman was, it was horrible. So we don't talk about that one. But yes, Catwoman I thought was really well done. Who else? Gordon, I already said Gordon. I loved Gordon in this movie. So let's go and double round about Batman. Robert Pattinson's Batman. There's a lot of things coming out before the movie even came out. He wasn't going to be like a bulked up Batman like Christian Bale or like Ben Affleck. And you know what? To each their own. Do I think it worked for this version of Batman that we got? I do, because this is around year 2. In this one we see the recluse Batman. We see the Batman that doesn't go out. Let me rephrase. We see the Bruce Wayne that doesn't go out. No one really knows who Bruce is. He's not the playboy philanthropist. Shout out Iron Man. Shout out KFMA Day. But yeah. So we get to see a different version of Bruce Wayne that's still really broody, really upset. The first Batman that we see put on eye makeup, because let's be honest, we always see Batman with black around his eyes in the mask. He has to put on eye makeup. It has to be happening. Like, they can't just be like, oh, it's not happening. No, it's happening. Like, we clearly see it. It is a thing. But yeah, we see that happen, which is, I don't know, it's funny. Did I enjoy the Penguin? I thought the Penguin was really good. It's such a tough character to do, man, because fuck, the Penguin in and of itself is a really weird character. It's a dude who's supposed to be mutated to look like a penguin. I mean, not look like a penguin, but like he has deformities. And I thought Colin Farrell looked great as this fat mobster who calls himself, or is called, the Penguin. I thought he did really well. I thought the makeup that they used on him, the prosthetics, I thought everything that they used on him was really well done. I loved his story in the show. I thought it was really well done. But you know, as far as like the Batman itself as a movie, I really did. I came from the camp that I was like, this movie's gonna probably suck. Like, let's be honest, I don't want to do it. But you know, after watching it, it's long. It's a long movie. It's almost bucking at 3 hours. No end credit scene, thank God. I think if you can't say what you want about this movie in, I don't know, fucking 3 hours, you're doing something wrong. But this movie I thought was really well done. Now let's talk about the story a little bit. So the story is this serial killer known as the Riddler is going around and killing these politicians. He starts with the mayor, then the commissioner, so on and so forth. You know, I was surprised on how far this movie went with a lot of things. What I mean by that is that I'm surprised Riddler was able to do so much. I'm surprised that he had so many murders. He murdered a lot in this show. I mean, not this show, this movie. His plan was catastrophic. I mean, imagine that happening into a fucking city today. Like what he did. He blew up what would be the equivalent of like blowing up the levees in New Orleans, or blowing up the seawalls in New York City, and flooding major parts of the city. Like, that is some super villain shit. But as far as that goes, I was really surprised that they went that far with the amount of stuff that they were going to do. Now, with all this being said, my overall thought about this movie is that I really did enjoy it. I liked the direction they went with this Batman. We've seen a lot of versions of Batman. We've seen established Batmans like Michael Keaton's, like Val Kilmer, like Clooney's. We've seen up and coming Batmans from his beginning to his end with the Nolan verse. We've seen a snippet of the Dark Knight Returns Batman in Ben Affleck's Batman, which to me personally, that's the best Batman. I love that Batman. Aside from the animated series, I love how that Batman is. But this one is a very year one esque Batman. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait to see what they do with this character. I want to see where they go with it. I really do think this character, this Robert Pattinson character, has potential to do really good things. Especially now that he got the whole brooding, I'm still angry at the world, Bruce Wayne version out. I think that version is done with. I kind of hope so. I understand what they were going for, so I don't hate it at all. I think it was really well done. But I really do want to see him develop into his persona of Bruce Wayne, the rich and powerful kid. I mean, not kid, but the rich and powerful playboy. I think that would be a good development to see, like him having to go through that. I almost forgot. Andy Serkis is Alfred. I thought his Alfred was pretty good. I didn't hate his Alfred, but for me, the GOAT for Alfred's is honestly Jeremy Irons. I feel like his Alfred is the best. Mostly because Michael Caine's Alfred had to be more realistic, and I thought that Jeremy Irons' Alfred is probably the best Alfred suited for a comic book universe. Michael Caine definitely strong second. They're definitely neck and neck on that one. But for me, it will always be Jeremy Irons, even though we barely got to see him. What else? Anything else? Oh, the story about, another part about the story that I was surprised, aside from Riddler's dominance in this outing, is fuck, man, like the story of Martha and Thomas Wayne, how he had a reporter shut down and ultimately killed to save his wife's reputation. Or so they say. I mean, you could say like, oh no, it was to save his political career, but I would be of the camp to say like, no, I think he wanted to save his wife's reputation. And like, just the fact like he fucking did that is crazy. But yeah, I thought that part was really, really shocking to see in a Batman movie. But overall, I thought this one was a really good outing, especially for this version of Batman. I think this version of Batman has a long ways to go, and I really do think that we're going to see good things come from Matt Reeves. I really hope he does helm another Batman movie. I really hope they get whoever they had to write it to come back. I want to see what they do with this character. Even if they don't do a Justice League, because let's be honest, right now, at the moment, the DCEU is such in a way of disarray that we have no fucking clue what's going to happen with that DCEU. We don't know if they're going to even do another team-up movie or what, and they haven't really mentioned much. The only characters that are really coming back for their own outings are the Flash from Justice League, Aquaman. We have Shazam coming back. I think Wonder Woman's going to get a third movie. Don't see why, because her second one was horrible. I'm kidding. Obviously, we all know why she's getting a second chance. I mean, it's fucking Wonder Woman, dude. Like, she had a successful first movie, a not so successful second, but I'm sure they could redeem themselves. But right now, the state of disarray that the DCEU is really. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We really don't. I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder if they're going to make another team-up movie eventually or what. But only time will tell. And for me personally, I don't see another team up movie, at least with Batman and Superman, because I mean even Superman's up in the air. But for the most part, for this standalone movie, for this Batman, I thought it was really well done. I really hope we see more of this. I know a lot of people wanted it to be rated R, but let's be honest, they're never going to make a Batman movie rated R. It wouldn't make sense. You're not going to have enough people to fill those seats. It is stupid. So stop asking for it. It's really dumb that people think that this is going to happen. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot of lately is a lot of YouTube reviewers just like really taking this movie to task. Most notably Jeremy Johns. He became somewhat of a cynical old bitch with his recordings. Like critical of everything, man. And it's just, I used to love watching his stuff, and now his stuff has just become unwatchable because I'm just like, alright, dude, now you're just being nitpicky. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, I have my biases, but I mean, even I will try to look at things from a logical standpoint. But whatever. Who am I to tell who about reviewing movies? What the fuck do I know about reviewing movies? I'm just someone that just does on the side for fun. But yeah, this is my review of the Batman. I didn't get a chance to record with Eddie and Chema, but fuck those guys. Fuck them. I know they're not listening, so fuck them. They're stupid. I wonder if they're listening. Let's see. I'll find out later on if they did listen to it. But right now, this is the end of the podcast, everyone. Check out our podcast. Hopefully we release some on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I'll try to see if I can find anything to do for the rewind and try to bring it back. But yeah, like I said, life gets tough. Sometimes you don't want to record, and sometimes you don't want to watch anything. But I'll try to get back to it. This is Fernando from your rollback. Let's cut it.
And it's over, folks. Were Ferny thoughts mesmerizing, or was he a total knob? Either way, you're welcome. We're back. God, there's so much.
There's one element that we haven't even touched.
What?
We haven't talked explicitly about Robert Pattinson as Batman.
Let's talk about it. Okay. What are your first thoughts?
There's just one thing I didn't like, and everything else I loved.
Mm-hmm.
He is a great Batman, not the best Bruce Wayne, because I think there should be like a good balance between the dark, brooding Dark Knight and the millionaire playboy that is Bruce Wayne. And when you see Bruce Wayne, like the longest scene that we have of him as Bruce is when he goes to the funeral. And he acts exactly the same as he does as Batman. Mm-hmm. In that scene, almost to the point where I swear to God, when he says hi to like Turturro and the Penguin and they're all paying their respects, and he like leaves, I swore for a second that they were both gonna be like, he's fucking Batman, isn't he? Like, because he acts exactly the same. And to me, like, he could have been like a little bit more layered. That's like the only thing that I didn't love about his portrayal. But like, since the movie's 95% Batman, kind of doesn't matter because we barely see it. Mm-hmm. But everything else, I think, is great. Him as Batman, I think he looks the part. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about the suit and the cowl? Because I think this one is a little bit more slimming than the one that we saw with like Affleck, but not as like dynamic and heroic and classic as like Keaton's. I think it does feel like a younger Batman. I think this might be one of my favorite suits that we've ever seen. Almost to the point where like I love that like the symbol is the Batarang, like he just takes it off and puts it back. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like Affleck's like small ears. I kind of like the long ears, so I kind of like that in the suit. What do you think about the suit?
The suit I really like it. You can tell it was inspired by the Arkham. Matt Reeves may have had like the best, easiest, hardest time making this film because he has so much to draw from. Like, I like this bat suit, but I like these ears. I'm going to like this detective film, but I'm going to make these characters. I'm going to use these Batman storylines. Like, he had so much to draw from that, like, this is not an original Batman, like, film, but it's one of the best ever. Like, it is. But anyway, I'm sorry. So going back.
So Bat suit him as Batman,
Bat suit's incredible. And I love the fact that, like, that centerpiece like comes off and on. Like I love that. I love how he has gadgets, but he doesn't have everything. I love how we had that adrenaline though at the very end when he's like almost knocked out. He's like, and you see him again reacting. Normally, Batman wouldn't like scream or yell or feel the need to like get pumped. He's normally more put together than that. So the fact that he is on the fly to some degree, he's not completely measured, he reacts in such a manner is great. I think his acting as Batman is great. The voiceover is great. The manner in which he solves these riddles, he's a detective. He commands the room when he's there, if not with his heavy fucking boots, with his presence. He says so much with silence. He talks when necessary. I was worried that this was going to go down the have you ever seen the Bourne? I think it's the Bourne Legacy, the last, or Jason Bourne, maybe the last Bourne film.
No, I have not.
So I when I saw that film, one of the things I hated about it is the main actor. What's his face? Matt Reeves, whatever. Matt Damon. Thank you. He had very, very, very few lines in that film. He was barely in it. Like, the film was advertised around him. He was in it for maybe half the film, if that much, and he barely says anything, right? He's so stoic. I was worried going into this film that Batman was going to be very quiet, that his acting was going to be mostly his movement rather than what he says. And I was very pleasantly surprised. No, he talks a bit. He talks quite a bit. See, he lets silence do the talking some chunk of the time, but his presence, Robert Pattinson's presence is amazing. Also, I want to give a quick shout out. So when I saw him moving the table, I thought to myself, I think I could beat this Batman in a fist fight. And then I see him beating the shit out of other people. I'm like, I was wrong.
Yeah. Oh God, like you said. Also, I want to talk. His Batman voice, subtle but like menacing, like good. Like honestly, I don't love the Christian Bale. Everyone has made that joke. Everyone has made that reference. There's the scene where he's talking to the Riddler in Arkham. I swear you can hear like a little bit of Kevin Conroy coming out, like a little bit when they're talking back and forth. I swear you can hear him. Like he's so close to that, like really strong, really stoic Batman voice, and he does it great. Like, but also like the scenes where he goes back to like the mansion and he's talking with Alfred. He always wears this like really long sleeve, like almost to like almost covering his hands, where he's just like so tired and so And then except for like the scene where he's kind of like putting all the clues together, and for some reason he's wearing his shirt off. Like this was a Marvel movie. Like we have to have the obligatory shirt off scene. But it's good. Like he really nails that kind of like wacky centered psychology of Batman, and I think he does great. I don't know. I know that they said it's going to be a trilogy. I don't believe it. I'll believe it when I see it. But I would, if this is a one-off, he will stand in the pantheon of one of the greatest like live action Batmans. But if we get a trilogy, God, that might cement it like as possibly the best, because he is too good in this role. Probably too good.
You know, we also haven't mentioned Wayne Manor. I mean, I know it's not technically Wayne Manor, but the place that they live in, like it's a beautiful mansion. Like I remember telling Nikki, this is incredible. Because it's not the normal mansion that we're used to of like, oh, it's big. Like it's not just big, it's grand. You know what I mean? And it's in the city. We haven't seen a Wayne Manor that's in the city.
Yeah, it's usually like away from it. Yeah,
way out in the sticks and stuff. Like it's it's a long drive away from Gotham. But no, this particular Wayne Manor is in a tower. Which I mean that's big city living for you. But no, Robert Pattinson's Batman is subtle. He's quiet. He only talks when he has to, but what he does is awesome. He's not above making jokes. He's such a character. I love a really subtle thing. If you notice, he wears sunglasses during the day because his eyes have adjusted to the night. Yeah. To a point where it's like it hurts. So he's like, sunglasses better, I guess. Yeah. I'm less of a douche. Yeah. But just so many elements like that. And then also another thing, I want to talk about the creation of this film. This film has so many endpoints that feel like the finality of like a movie. Like they pull a Pixar Because there are moments in this film that should have been in any other movie would have been the climax, but in this film, no, it's just another part. The part where him and the Penguin have that huge car chase. In other movies, that would have been like the finale, but not here. The part where he arrests Maroni, that would have been the finale, but not here. The part where they capture the Riddler would have been the finale, but not here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's so much to it. And I love that. I love the fact that no huge moment goes unabated. No huge moment is wasted. They build on top of each other until it gets to a point where Gotham is going to flood.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, man, it's such a complete and well-told story. There's no fat on this that I can find. There's no loophole that I can really think of that I'm like, oh, he didn't do this thing or that thing. You know, if anything, there's one scene I wish they would have added in from the comics, but I understand. Yeah. It would have been like a 3-minute scene, but like I wish they would have done this. In The Long Halloween, it is true. You know, Thomas Wayne saves Falcone's life. He performs surgery on him. The thing is, it's never implicitly said that, oh, it's because he owes him a favor. He just does it because he like, this guy's dying. I gotta save him. Like that's my that's the oath I made. But the part that they didn't mention in the film is that Bruce is there. He watches it and he talks to him. He speaks to him, you know, after the surgery, and he's just laying on the table. And Falcone says, "You shouldn't be here, kid." And he's like, you know, you're a bad guy, right? Like, that's why they shot you. And they have a little conversation. And Maroni says, like, you know, you and me, we're family, kid. Like, your dad just saved my life. Like, I'm indebted to him. Like, that makes us, you know. And I wish there would have been a point where Maroni even like reached out to Bruce and was like, you know, trying to be like, I owe you this debt. I think it would have made his character more complicated, but I think it would have been welcomed. Also, I don't know if this is in the comics or only in the movie that they made. I don't remember this one part. He gives him a coin, his lucky coin.
Okay.
He says, like, kid, like, your dad saved my life. I don't need this now. Maybe you can use it. You know, maybe like he keeps it as a keepsake. Like, I don't know. I think that would have been kind of cool. But anyway.
No, there's elements in there. When you were talking about Batman's and Jim's relationship, there's two scenes that I want to talk. One that's serious and one that's not so serious. The first is there's this other rookie cop that's with Jim all the time. His last name is they just refer to him as Martinez. Yeah. And like that happened. Like my sister shared to me, and it's like Latinos, we gotta be everywhere. Like, and yeah. So it was a scene where like Martinez is like, "Are you gonna let him touch the evidence?" And Jim just goes, "He has gloves." Like, like I love that scene. Like shut up. Like, he's helping us. Like, he has gloves. And then there's another scene where like near the end we see that they bust into the Riddler's like whole operation, and the Riddler kind of figured out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and Jim doesn't see this. He just like sees like all the papers, and then there's a moment where like Batman just goes like, "You're a good cop, Jim." Like, just that, you can feel like that's what he wants to tell him, like, as Bruce Wayne. And that just like comes out in that soccer. You can see how strong their relationship is, like how they really do trust each other, even though they don't like know each other that well. And I believe that really works. We need to talk about the ending, but before that, I need to talk about that Batmobile scene. Jesus Christ. To me, this whole movie like fucks. Like, the whole movie is just great. But that scene where he's having that chase with the Penguin and there's an explosion and the Penguin is like, got him. And we see the Batmobile fly out of the fire and we see the Giacchino score just blazing. I have that piece of the score. Yesterday when I was working, I was like filling out my spreadsheets and I was just listening to that score over and over because it's so good. And oh God, and you see the fear in the Penguin's eyes when he's being chased in that scene. I want to tattoo that scene in my body. Like, it is so good. Like, that is Kino. Like, that is fucking like the best thing one of the best things that I've ever seen, because I adore that scene so much. That's why I say like that. The sound design in this movie is fantastic. Okay. I saw it in theaters. I'm gonna try to watch it again in IMAX because I didn't get a chance to see it in IMAX, because the sign was, oh my God, I cannot imagine how good it must sound.
Beautiful.
There.
It was beautiful.
Because that, oh God, the sound design for that car is wonderful. I think in consideration for one of the best movie cars ever. I like the Batmobile. I love the original 1989 for Burton's film. I like the Tumbler. To me, this muscle car, this like, oh, I love this Batmobile.
I think it's the most realistic Batmobile also we've ever had.
If I could get like a figure of that car.
Oh, there's a Lego figure for $100. I want to buy it.
I want it on my bookshelf. Like I want it sitting there. Okay.
What's called? When the Riddler is screaming, I got you, and you just see the Batmobile appear over the fire and land. Yeah. I remember I went to Nikki. You thought, bitch. Okay. Let me whisper it into the mic. I whispered into Nikki. You thought you got me, bitch. Like, just like, oh man, you idiot. You thought. But I think it's also see Batman, he got lucky. Too.
Oh, yeah.
Part of it is divine intervention. Like, in no way should he have survived any of that. He shouldn't have. Like, he got in multiple car wrecks, like multiple hits from multiple angles. He should have, like, fucked up a vertebrae, fucked up his neck. Like, multiple things should be wrong with him. But no.
Yeah.
He keeps going after Penguin, and so he takes him out. And then when he's walking towards him and he's upside down, it's just like that shot. Like, that's in the trailer, but that fucking shot.
Yeah.
But no, man, there's just so much to this. It's so layered. I also want to mention one more thing about Robert Pattinson's Batman that we didn't mention. That's my mistake. Yeah. I mentioned how how I do believe that the Riddler should be diagnosed in film, like in character, in film, with some kind of mental disability, like psychotic disorder, whatnot. I think Batman has something there too. Like, he's antisocial. He is very dissociative disorder. Like, I think he has elements of that. You're the psychology major. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But he seems to have a thing where he can't really talk to people. Whereas Bruce Wayne in the comics, he's a social person because he understands he needs to put up this front. This Batman is still too new to realize, hey, I need to lie to people. That way I can keep my secret.
He hasn't found that work-life balance yet.
Yeah, no.
He hasn't. Yeah.
He's only like 27. He's fine.
Yeah, he's young. So like, yeah. I think they'll find more in like the upcoming sequels. But as it is, I think some of it just works extraordinarily well. And it's kind of hard to criticize it because I just love it. There's something about the climax that I want to talk to you about. And it's this movie throughout, like we see Batman working with the police, and you can see the police is not they don't love him. Like they have him because Jim wants him to be there.
Yeah.
And it's not until the end of the movie where we see like this flood come in and everything. And I think the ending where, you see his instinct is to like sacrifice himself for the city. Mm-hmm. And he has this great monologue about like, his overall thoughts on like, I don't care about like anything else. Like, I have to save the city. I have to like put myself for it. And visually it's represented by this scene where like the new mayor and like all these innocents are like trapped underwater, and he like comes down and he turns on this flare light. And he turns it on, like visually wonderful. Like the color palette in this movie is mostly centered in black, yellow, and red. And that red, when he's like leading them out, like literally leading them to the light. And then we see like this next scene where like he's carrying like this small child, and he's helping them. Like the movie ends with him becoming that symbol, that heroism that the Gotham believes in him. That he gives security, that he is that, because he's not that at the start. Mm-hmm. They see him as a freak. They see him as like, oh, he exists, and it's not until that ending that we see him becoming that symbol, mm-hmm. that symbol of peace if you want.
Oh, all my wishes he was Batman. He wishes he had the street cred of Batman.
He doesn't need to. He is already the best. And yeah, there is something great. And I think it's Catwoman's words that like resonate with him and tell him like, you're a rich kid. Like of course you believe like some of the things that you believe. And he has to lose her to like realize that. So Jesus Christ, I'm in love with the ending for this movie. What did you think of the climax? Like,
dude, which part? Which fucking part?
Yeah,
because there's so much to it. So to start, when they capture the Riddler, like that was
in the diner.
Yeah.
There
you go. Okay, so when they capture the Riddler in the diner, it's and you see him for the first time. I was like, I have my jaw open, like smiling, like this is great. And Nikki's like, you look crazy. Why are you smiling and like with your mouth open? I'm like, because he looks like an actual murderer. Like he doesn't look like this comic book like evil person with like prosthetics to make like a big smile. He doesn't look like this overly theatrical like dude with face makeup or whatever. Yeah. He doesn't look like this comical mustache like fucking Ra's al Ghul or whatever, or a muscle head. He looks like a real world murderer. He looks like the kind of person that I would see his picture on like a YouTube thumbnail, you know, the Riddler, how, you know, a vigilante helped the cops catch, you know, the worst killer in Gotham history. Like, I could see a documentary around this one fucking character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He looked real, and that's terrifying. And I love it because it's real. Like, he looks like he could actually exist. Because let's face it, even the one time that you see the Joker without like his makeup and just his facial scars in The Dark Knight, even everyone's like, I've never seen a person that looks like that. But I've seen a million dudes with clear glasses and that haircut. And it is terrifying that any one of them could be this psychopath.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love when he's talking. And the thing is, I'm not 100% sure he figured out who Batman is. Because when they're interrogating him, when Batman's talking to him, he's like, Bruce Wayne. We didn't get him.
Yeah.
But that's okay. And you see Batman's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Because you see him, he's like, fuck. He knows it's me. Yeah. And then the second the Riddler's like, we didn't get him.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, thank Jesus. What had you done? What have you done or whatever?
And I also like his... No,
go ahead.
I was going to say that even to a certain point, like you can kind of understand the Riddler's motivation. Like he was promised all this renewal. He was promised that like the city would get better, and it never got better. So he is kind of like this perfect foil for this Batman, because the same way that Batman sees this place as like, it has so much bad, I could make it better. Like somebody has to take charge. He sees it the same way. Like, hey, we were promised this. Nobody's taking charge. I'm going to take charge, you know? So they kind of work perfectly for each other in this scenario.
What's called? I love when it clicks in Batman's head, like, you know, we're vengeance. Like he's like, I didn't mean to do this.
Yeah.
Because he brings he is the one that rang the bell. He called on these guys. He called on this fringe group. You know, he realizes I am making mistakes. I'm doing wrong in this manner. God damn, though, again, beautifully shot. This movie's just beautiful all around. But okay, so there's that part of the climax. And then when the Riddler says, oh man, you're not as smart as I thought you were. I'm like, oh, what? Okay, interesting. And Batman goes back to the crime scene and Martinez is there. And he kind of has a moment where Martinez is just like, yeah, I'm not going to fuck with you. And he's like,
just lets him go, yeah.
Yeah, and he's looking at the evidence, and then he says, "Oh, that's a carpenter's tool. That's for a carpet." And Batman kind of stands there like, "How the fuck?" Like for just half a moment, he's like, "Are you in on this?"
Yeah.
And Martin's like, "No. My uncle's a carpenter. Like I just know. Like that's a carpet thing to like stick it in." And I don't think anyone knows that's what that tool was.
Yeah. So
the second that he undoes the carpet and he sees everything, it's just like, oh my God, it's about to go down.
Yeah.
And the city begins to flood, and there's no time to react. There is no, you have 5 minutes to get all the vans. It's like, no. we already did it. That's another thing of this film that it does from Seven, which is, and from I think Watchmen. The villain doesn't give you time to stop his plan. It's already in play. All you can do is pray to God that you survive it.
Yeah.
Because it happens multiple times. It happens when he tries to flood the city. The van's already explode. Alfred, I'm sorry, Bruce. I've been trying to call you. It happened an hour ago.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a chance to stop it. You only pray to survive.
Yeah.
Like all these.
That's the only scene with like the Alfred fake out of it happened an hour ago. That's the only scene that felt kind of Nolan-y. Yeah.
Yeah, Nolan though. I would argue in that aspect.
Shit.
And I thought there's no way they're gonna kill Alfred, but I like that they killed him. No. I like that they went through that like fake out, because also Alfred was such a minor role in this film that it was possible.
Yeah. There's I wanted to tell you, there's one scene, this one thing that I like about this Alfred. There's a scene where like he's in the hospital. Mm-hmm. He wakes up, Bruce is next to him. And what's the first thing that Bruce tells him? He goes like,
you lied to me.
You lied to me. And like my father killed and like Andy Serkis's face goes from like cuddly Alfred to like, I've killed a bitch, Like, he goes into like you rich, you privileged asshole, like you have no idea the stories that I've had, the things that have happened to me, you disgusting little snot shit. You know what? Good Time wasn't even that good. Like I'm kidding. Good Time was amazing. Yeah, like I felt like all the like he became Gollum for like a second. Like he was ready to kill this kid. Like and that was great because we always see Alfred as like this very strong presence, but very rarely as like this violent presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I like that. On par with some of my favorite Alfred moments, like in the animated series where they find the Batcave and he comes out and he's like, "Yes, I am Batman." He's great there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we close out, before we end, I don't want to end, but we need to talk about what everyone is talking about, and that is at the end we see the Riddler in Arkham, and he has a little neighbor. Honestly, sequel bait, of course it has to happen. It's the only part that I feel you could cut out. But you being a big fan, you knowing exactly what I'm talking about, how did you feel about that scene?
As someone who's worked in a prison, pretty accurate.
I was going on the angle of like, what do you think of
seeing
Barry Keoghan playing
the Joker?
Possibly the Joker, yeah.
Come on.
All right.
Come on, it's the Joker. I'm curious to see how the role he plays in the next one, because this was a fresh take on the Riddler. I'm curious what's going to be the fresh take on the Joker in this one, because I mean, we've seen the social outcast version in Joker, the actual fucking rated R film.
Yeah.
We've seen like the domestic terrorist version of the Joker in Heath Ledger. So I'm curious to see like what are we going to get here? Are we going to get like a manic serial killer that just murders people for shits and giggles, or is it going to be a different take on it? Also, how does he escape? Are we going to get a Harley Quinn in this one as well? I wasn't initially a fan of the prosthetic makeup, I'll be honest, until I realized, wait, they did it on Penguin and it looked pretty fucking great. Maybe they can pull off Joker makeup with this kid.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to act through it.
Because Barry Keoghan, fantastic actor. He was great in Dunkirk. He was great in Eternals. He was great in Green Knight. Yeah. He's young. He's like a year older than you. He's like 2 years older than me. Yeah. He's a young kid, and like I think he can do amazing. If I had been Matt Reeves, mm-hmm. I would have put him, mm-hmm. but I wouldn't have used his voice. Mm-hmm. I would have been like, "Hey, Mark Hamill, are you busy? Can you like come in for like 6 hours?" Cause like, can you imagine the fucking tingles? Like if you had heard like Mark Hamill's because like if you weren't gonna show him, like go all out, you know.
But I mean, that would set unfortunate expectations. Also, though, if they're going to do this sequel in the next 5 years, they probably actually could have done either a live action Mark Hamill Joker or even William Dafoe. They could have brought him in to play Joker because it's like, okay, we're going to shoot the shot in the next 5 years. You don't have to be the character for the next 20 years like in fucking MCU or DC. So if he's going to have one run at it, give him the one run at it.
Did you saw what William Dafoe said about that when he hosted SNL recently?
What?
So he hosted SNL like around the time where Spider-Man came out. And he did his monologue and he said, you know, people have told me that I can be like extreme and that I'm a very physical, theatrical actor with my face. And people have told me, hey, you should play the Joker. And, you know, it's not the compliment that you think it is because you're basically telling someone, hey, you could be a serial killer.
You got the face for it, pal.
Well, yeah. If you've seen the Florida Project, you know that he's not William Dafoe, he's William the Friend. And but no, Barry Cohen, that scene was so atmospheric and so well. And yeah, it's sequel bait. It's on the par of like the ending of Batman Begins where they show like the Joker card.
Yeah.
But my whole theater went fucking nuts when he said like it turns you into a clown, and we were all like, oh, we know what's gonna happen. And then we hear like the maniacal laugh, and that's great. That was a great little scene. Yeah.
I love the part when he's like, the fewer of me you have, the more valuable I am.
Yeah.
Friends. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, what if he's the cult leader Joker?
Yeah.
Because he's like, he's getting the Riddler under his wing. What if he's that guy? Like, I have all these people beneath me. Go. The Batman, Arkham Asylum. Who do you trust to do this, to do that film, if no one else other than Matt Reeves?
Matt Reeves? Listen, I don't want to say Guillermo del Toro, but
Guillermo del Toro has his own problems to work through.
Yeah. I think Matt Reeves is a good staple because the Ape trilogy was great. Well, he only did 2 and 3, but like he did great on those.
Well, no, I remember thinking that the third one was amazing because I'm like, they make me give a shit about Caesar. Like, I really like this character. And they killed him, and I was like, oh my God, I feel more for losing this guy than I did in like what's another movie? A Walk to Remember. I didn't give a fuck when that lady died. But Caesar? Oh no, not him.
To be fair, nobody cares about the lady.
What, in A Walk to Remember?
Yeah, nobody cares about it.
What?
Yeah.
Are being sarcastic?
No.
It's one of the biggest like heartbreaking movies that like people have ever talked. Oh, I didn't give a fuck when Jack died. There you go. Let me be equal here. In Titanic, when Jack dies, Jack Dawson.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about you, Jack. I knew you for all of 3 days. I'm gonna forget about you after like 5 years. 6 if it's a hard day.
Yeah.
But overall, man, this movie is so layered. I want to do an episode where we do comparisons between this and The Dark Knight, or we at least discuss similar elements and differences and strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. But this film, shit, I've never given this grade before, but A+, 10 out of 10. Like, I'm gonna rewatch this film. Here's a spoiler alert, folks. I've only seen Justice League, the Zack Snyder version, twice ever. I've only seen Batman vs Superman like 4 or 5 times. Like, I haven't rewatched those movies extremely frequently because after like twice, I remember everything. It's so vivid. I can see myself rewatching this film multiple times. Like The Dark Knight. I've seen The Dark Knight probably like 20 or 30 times. I'm going to end up doing that with this film and just re-examining it and catching new shit every time I watch it.
It's going to be a first, but yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we both given 10 out of 10 to a movie, I think. Because like I've given 10 out of 10 to like Parasite and to like other things, but like for the elements that work, for what it's trying to do, for what it's trying to set up, this is a home run. I am going to watch. I don't want to watch this again on HBO. I'm going to watch it again on the big screen the second that I can. And yeah, fucking love it. This is God, so good. So good. Like all the elements just work. Like I said, one of my favorite Batsuits ever, one of my favorite Batmobiles ever, possibly the greatest Catwoman ever. Sorry, Anne Hathaway. There's best Penguin ever, best Riddler ever, like best Gotham. A lot of elements that just really, really work, don't fail here. I am afraid of how this movie is going to age. That is the only thing that I'm like concerned. And the fact that it's not like for the audience, for the whole audience, because either people are going to be like, oh, that's a weird bleep on the radar that happened, that was pretty good, or in like a few years we're going to be calling this one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. I fear the Dark Knight's shadow is a large one. That is the only thing I fear, and sadly we are going to fail into that comparing itself to each other. Like I am very afraid that I'm going to be like, oh, I really like this one, and people are going to be like, well, I like Dark Knight more. Like, we're not talking about that. This is just good on itself, you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, if you didn't like this movie, if it's not for you, wait a couple of years, there will be another one. Like there will always be another Batman.
Yeah.
We just got to make sure that every time there's a new one, it's a good one. And to me, this is a great one.
Yeah. Parents, if you're listening to this, leave the kids at home. This is not for the little ones.
Also, this is a PG-13 movie. It's not hard R. Because the only F-bomb is done by like one cop that goes "Happy fucking Halloween." Like that's it. Like, and I
didn't even catch the F-bomb.
It's like at the start where Batman comes in with Jim, and one of the cops is like, "This is probably your favorite day of the year, you freak. Happy fucking Halloween."
I didn't catch that. Although you know what I think would have been awesome if Batman had used the one fuck right when the explosions all happened. He's like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
I want so badly for Batman to drop an F-bomb, but man. But yeah, man, I cannot wait. Oh, can I tell a quick story of the story of the 6 tickets?
Please do.
All right, folks. So something fun happened. I bought tickets for the Dark Knight, for the Batman, for the Batman at a 7 p.m. IMAX showing, right? And I bought those right when they went on sale. I was at the gym and I was refreshing. I was like, okay, purchase. Right? And all good. And then at work, they decide to move me from one spot to another. They can just completely move me. And so I'm stuck closing on that Thursday, so I can't go watch the premiere anymore. So I bought 2 new tickets for the next day in IMAX at 2:00. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find them. Right? But here's the thing. In between me buying them and going to the Batman, I got a new phone and a new phone number.
Yeah.
The tickets were saved on my previous phone. And I don't have an account with Fandango. Now I do, though, because of this. So after the fact, I realized I couldn't find my tickets, and I went to the theater, and they couldn't find any history of my ticket purchases either.
Yeah. So
I'm like, son of a bitch. I went to the Far Theater, and they couldn't have no. So I'm like, I lost them, so I had to buy 2 more tickets for the IMAX. But this time, instead of doing it in XD, I bought it for IMAX. So we go to IMAX, and my wife scans my fucking card. There's 4 tickets there. So I didn't buy them in XD, I bought them in IMAX. So I bought 6 fucking tickets for a movie I saw once. Do you know how much money that's wasted? But I don't care, because I love this fucking movie. It was great, and I'll watch it again.
Can you imagine Matt Reeves like this? Can you imagine like, look at the box office that we made, and you're like, yeah, that's all from me.
You look, man, I haven't
happy to help, but like.
Happy to help. Jesus.
But like,
yeah. But okay, all right. Let's sign off, because man, this is an hour and a half review at least.
It's an hour and a half review, yeah.
And there's still so much we missed.
Okay, so I guess there's not a lot. Well, there is more to say, but we'll save you from that. But that should be it from us. This is we're signing off. This is the Saturday, the 5th of March. We have like some more reviews, some more movies that are going to be coming out this month, and we're going to close this month with the Oscars. I think it's on the 27th. And after that, we have our top 10 animated film list, which that's like been consuming my thoughts for the past couple of weeks because it's been really hard. But that's the plans for the rollback. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the movie. We hope you enjoyed our thoughts. We're signing off. My name was Chema.
I've been Eddie.
And this
was the rollback.
Was the rollback. Signing off with a reminder to just move. If you live in Gotham, just find a way. Just get the fuck out of there. Like no. Just get the fuck out of there. I didn't have a sign off. Bye, everybody.